Hi, and good morning. Today's Friday, October 9th, and this is the Week 1 video for Environmental Studies 108W, Wildlife in America. Last week was the Week 0 video. Next week will be Week 2's video. I'd like to begin today by going over a few administrative and logistical issues. First, crashing will end by the end of today. If by the end of today you have not yet received an ad code through the waitlist or from your TA Pablo, then you will not receive a code for this quarter. That means you won't be able to enroll in 108W, unfortunately. If you're unable to enroll in 108W and you'll be here in future years, I would encourage you to try again next year to take the course. I usually offer it every fall quarter during regular academic years. On Tuesday morning, I held office hours for both of the courses I teach this quarter, ES1 and 108W. And the office hours were pretty much full. People came through and I met with students one by one. Thank you to those of you who attended the first week's office hours. And I invite those of you who didn't get an opportunity to attend to do so in the future. It was really great to get a chance to meet a few folks in person, online, and I hope to meet more of you as the quarter goes on. I've determined that it's best to meet with people by Zoom individually instead of as a group. So if you come to office hours and you click the Zoom link, you may end up in the waiting room. Please just wait there patiently. And as soon as I finish with the last person, I'll go on to the next one. And I'll try to be fairly expeditious, giving enough time for folks to meet with me, but also moving through the list as quickly as possible. So thank you for your patience. I also just wanted to mention to you that doing the reading for this course is really, really important. And by reading, I mean reading the messages I send you each week and the messages Pablo sends you as well, reading the syllabus and rereading it, and also reading the instructions for the weekly assignments as well as the assigned activities themselves. This is all incredibly important. Under normal circumstances, it's important, but under these circumstances, it's especially important. The reason for that is that under a normal circumstance where I would be meeting with you twice a week in lecture and Pablo would see you in your discussion sections once a week, we'd be able to remind you of things that are coming up and answer any questions you may have. This time, it's much harder to do that. And so it's just absolutely essential that you read everything carefully so that you know what's coming up, so that you know what to do, so that you know what to expect, and so that we can communicate as effectively as possible. Thank you for doing that. A lot of the questions that you have this week will be answered in those materials. We actually did get quite a few questions that were answered pretty clearly on the syllabus. And so if you send me a question on this that's answered on the syllabus that I worked hard to write, then I'm probably not going to respond to you. Or at best, I'll tell you to, go and read the syllabus. So keep that in mind. Another thing I want to mention is that we have our book clubs coming up soon, weeks 4 and 7, if that sounds right. And so if you have not yet ordered your books for the book clubs, there are 2 books that we're going to read this quarter, 2 weeks when we won't have articles and podcasts and videos. Instead, we'll have books that you're supposed to read. You need to order those now. It is so important that you order those now so that you can get them ahead of time and be ready to read them for the weeks during which they are assigned. It is absolutely essential. If you do not do that, you will not be able to do the assignment for that week. So go ahead and order them now if you haven't done so already. Last week's assignment focused on the deep history of human interactions with wildlife in North America and kind of beyond, focusing on a variety of different species. We watched a few videos and we read a few readings, including one draft article that I was a co-author on. I hope you enjoyed those. I hope you got a lot out of them. And I hope that they provided a deep history context for thinking about why the past is so important in current conservation issues and current conservation debates, and also thinking about how we got to the point we're at, where we have mass extinction underway on Earth, generated by human action, and one that conservationists are doing their level best to attempt to slow down or prevent, or even in some cases, roll back. This week, we're going to talk about that mass extinction itself, the extinction event that is underway on Earth in the present day. Prior to the current era, throughout Earth's history, there have been 5 major mass extinction events that have occurred. These have occurred punctuated over long periods, and interspersed between periods of slow change or relative stability in life on Earth. The last major extinction, before the current one, that I'm sure you all have heard about, is the extinction that killed all but the non-avian dinosaurs about 66 million years ago and was almost certainly caused by an impact from an extraterrestrial object that struck the Earth around the location of the present-day Yucatan. Today, what's causing extinction on Earth is very different than that chance, one-time, and severe immediate event. Today, what's causing the extinction that's unfolding on Earth, on all of the continents around the world and in the oceans as well, is human action. Human action taking a variety of forms, from taking animals out of the breeding pool directly by killing them, or and capturing them, or by destroying and rearranging habitats, or by moving animals and plants around on the surface of the Earth in such a way that it rearranges entire ecosystems and communities, changing the structure and the function and the diversity of life in the process. To help you better understand this landmark event in Earth history and one of the defining events of all of human history, this mass extinction that's underway, I've assigned you 6 activities for the week. These include 1 video, 1 podcast, 2 scientific articles published in scientific journals, and 2 popular pieces talking about, well, one talking about conservation, and the other one talking about the relationship between extinction and habitat loss, and also human health and pandemics in particular. These articles and the video and the podcast all provide you with different windows onto the same set of issues. What is causing species to decline and go extinct on Earth today? What are the causes of those declines? And what are the consequences of those declines? And not only that, but why is it so hard for us to address this problem that affects us all in so many different ways? Why is it so hard for us to prevent some species from declining? Why is it so hard for us to protect endangered species? Why is it so hard for us to prevent extinctions? The articles for this week give you a broad perspective and multiple different viewpoints on these issues, including a piece that focuses on the way in which the mass extinction that's underway is placing human health in jeopardy and making it more likely that we will have pandemics of the COVID-19 kind now and into the future. The assignment for this week includes 5 solo questions that you should complete at home after reading, watching, and listening to the activities I've assigned you. It also includes 3 pod questions, which you will answer in your discussion sections. Just to remind you, the way that will work is that you will attend your discussion section at the appointed time. So your Monday discussion section, not the lectures. We do not have synchronous lectures. You will attend your Monday discussion section. Pablo, your TA, will meet with you, brief you on what's going to happen, give you a couple thoughts and pointers, and then he will break you up into your small groups, into your pods. When you break up into your pods, you will have completed all the activities and all the solo questions already, hopefully, and then you will discuss the 3 pod questions. When you're discussing the 3 pod questions, you should take notes on what happens in your group, and then after your group is done, write up your answers to the pod questions based on your group discussion, but in your own words. When you complete that, you put your solo questions and your pod questions together into a single document, and then you submit that document via Gaucho Space before noon, not 12 midnight, but noon on Thursday. After you submit your assignment by noon on Thursday, Pablo will take a look at it. He'll let me know of any issues or problems or questions that came up repeatedly, and I will try to address those on my Friday morning video just 24 hours after you submit your assignment for the week. I will also, in next week's video, do what I'm doing now and preview the following week's material. One question that may come up this week that I'd like to address now is that there are only week 1 and week 2 assignments posted currently on Gaucho Space. The reason I did this is because I wanted to get a feel for how the first 2 assignments went before I posted the assignments that would come afterward. I've already drafted the assignments that come afterward, but if issues come up over these first couple weeks that would enable me to redesign them slightly or revise them in a way that would make them work better for you and your small groups, then I will do that before posting them later next week. So keep that in mind. Pay attention to what's going on, read the materials we send you, watch the materials you're assigned, watch the weekly video, and be ready for what's coming up. If you have any questions over this next week or in any of the weeks to come, what you should do is you should make sure that you've read all the materials and reread all the materials, including the syllabus. If you have a question about the course, consult the syllabus first. If your questions aren't answered there, then ask Pablo. Pablo will have answers to probably all of your questions. If there is something about the logistics or administrative aspects of the course that Pablo can't answer, he will ask me and I will answer it, or I will relay it to him to relay to you. So that's how that's going to work. There is an exception though. If you want to talk about the material of the course, the substantive material, the activities, the conservation issues, the environmental problems that we're talking about, not the logistical or administrative stuff, but the actual substance of the course, then I am more than happy to talk with you about that anytime at length. The way to reach me, of course, is to come to Zoom office hours. If those prove insufficient, then we can arrange another time to talk. But in general, I think that those will work really well. So thank you so much for engaging in the course, for participating this week, for getting the feel of things at this difficult time to work through all of the issues that we have, for being patient with us, with me and Pablo, as we figure out how to best provide a distance learning course for you. Thank you for doing all that. I appreciate that. I look forward to seeing more of you in my Zoom office hours. And I want to wish you luck in completing week 2's assignment. And just one more time, I want to remind you that now is the time to get your hands on those 2 books, Eager by Ben Goldfarb and Poached by Rachel Newer, which we will be reading just a little bit later in the quarter. You'll be talking about those books in your small groups, and then we will be meeting with the authors of those books in larger meetings during regularly scheduled lecture times. So those are the only 2 times that we will come together during our regularly scheduled lecture times this quarter. That's described on the syllabus, and we will remind you about that as we get a little bit closer. So have a great week too, and I look forward to seeing more of you in office hours and right here in weekly videos.